Standing here with Ron Cooper, 2012, brother. Ron Cooper, creator and founder of Del Maguey Single Village Mezcal.
Mr. Tequila.
Love this town. But the big question is, I wanted to get you here now to ask you, Del Maguey, I mean, you're a pioneer. I'm going to stand on this side, you see
Okay.
better light
Right.
on you.
Okay.
Del Maguey, you're a pioneer in mezcal. When I say not the pioneer in mezcal, you're a pioneer in mezcal of bringing real mezcal, bringing real mezcal to the world.
Yes.
Mezcal has been made for years, and it's been made commercially for years, but we haven't had mezcal as it was meant to be commercially.
Right on.
So I wanted to ask you, maybe you can go just a little bit into what happened? How did that come about?
Well, I grew up in Southern California, and our nearest neighbors were Mexico.
Yeah.
And in my little town, my first girlfriend when I was 4 was named Rachel Tumamite, and she was the daughter of the last Chumash medicine man.
Oh.
Think about California before the Spanish came. She was in this village, little valley I grew up in, of 2,400 people. My parents wanted to be with all the Anglo nerds and the best society in high school. And as a kid, for some reason, I identified with the people that were there before. And the Barrazas, the Sainzes, the Martinezes, Tumamite, they were my friends. They were the people, the salt of the earth, the cool people. Yeah. The gringos were like, yeah, okay, the judge's son, the optometrist's son. And then my family started taking me on vacations down to Ensenada, which is in Baja California. And one year I was like maybe 9th grade in high school. I had had 2 semesters of Spanish, and the rest of my family spoke no Spanish. And we went across the Sonoran Desert, went down from California along the border down to Nogales, Arizona, went into Mexico. My dad paid the customs guys some money to get in there at 4 in the morning because we wanted to start before the desert got hot. And I remember at 4 in the morning driving over a railroad trestle, a bridge with railroad ties in a 57 Plymouth station wagon, boom, 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 because the road was closed. And they were building the first highway down into Mexico. And I was the only one that could say, where is, how much, thank you, hello, goodbye. And I looked into people's eyes and I saw back thousands of years. And they were, they were like history, and they were like maintaining the integrity of their past right now. They weren't like Americans discarding their history, to be a homogenized kind of person. They were holding their ancient ancestors' stuff. So I fell in love with the culture. I had a really weird first agave experience, and it was drinking mezcal at a bar in Ensenada, California, called Husong's Cantina. And it was 1962, and I was a young art student, and a dozen of us went down to camp out on the beach for a week, and I was the fool 5 nights in a row waiting for the worm to come down. And I had not tasted tequila. This was my first taste of an agave spirit. Right. I was wrecked. I was just totally
What would that have been?
Over.
Would you remember the brand?
Yes, I do. It was Monte Alban.
Monte Alban, yeah.
And I know today the son of the original maker of Monte Alban. Cool. And he's in Comercom, the Consejo Mexicano Regulador de la Calidad de Mezcal. We're both in the same deal, and he says, I know who you are and what you're doing, and I know you're not a threat to me, and I love what you're doing, and you know what I do, and I've told him about my first agave experience. So, through the years, I started adventuring further on into Mexico. In 1970, 2 buddies and I went on a dare, like do you think the Pan American Highway really exists? And we got to Panama 4 months later from LA, you know, like, and we found Oaxaca, and we found, yeah, we found the ritual use of mezcal, and I became totally integrated in that. So in 1990, I had some fuck you money from big commissions, and it was like, oh God, I can go to Europe, I can go to Asia, fantastic. And this little voice said, no man, you're going to Oaxaca, you're gonna make art with the indigenous artisans. And I can't just go anywhere and not have plans, so I went, okay, I think I'll make these big weavings with my images. I have friends that are weavers there. And I think I'll make, I was making these really weird vases out of bronze.
Ceramics.
Bronze, yeah.
Jeez.
And they were, you know, completely symmetrical. And they were the weirdest looking things you could ever imagine until you saw them carving air. And if you looked at the airspace that the piece carved, it was a human profile looking back at itself. So I was
I got you. So it's like a negative shape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was going to make this hand-blown blue glass bottle with the profile of the supreme god of intoxication and ecstasy.
Nice.
The smell of a flower, the touch of a lover, the aha of an idea. The ancient Mexicans had infinite gods and goddesses of intoxication and ecstasy, all the forms that it took. So it was unlike Bacchus, you know, from Europe, which was one big great party, but it was like all these moments of realization and transformation. And every day I was going to make this hand-blown blue glass bottle. It turns out they don't blow glass in Oaxaca. I made the bottle anyway out of wood on a lathe. But every third day for 3 months, I'd go out a dirt road, roll down the window of my pickup, turn the air conditioning off, and go, "Donde está el mejor? Where's the best?" And these Indians would start talking back to me in Spanish or Zapotec or Mixtec or Miche. Couldn't understand a word, but I could follow their hands, and I'd go hours out these dirt roads until I saw that big grinding wheel out in the field. Turn off my pickup and I'd walk up and I'd go find the maker. I go, "How do you do this, man?" And I started meeting these great, unbelievable farmer makers, and I started bringing back these water bottles.
Because they do the whole process, isn't it?
It's for the ritual use of their village.
Yeah.
And I started taking back these plastic water bottles or used Coke bottles or Pedro del Bec empty bottles or Bacardi bottles back to this little village that I was staying in, which was a Zapotec weaving village. And my oldest friend down there, Arnolfo Mendoza, would go, "Where'd you get this, man?" And I go, "No, you know where I got." He'd say, "Where?" And I go, "San Pedro Ixtlahuaca." He'd go, "Where's that?" I go, "Come on, Arnolfo, it's like you go that way, you know, for 3 hours and then you turn on this dirt road." And I realized that these Zapotec Indians down in Oaxaca did not travel.
Right.
They were superstitious and they never left their villages.
Yeah.
They'd go to the next village, but after that it was falling off the end of the flat earth.
Yeah.
So I was ignorant and willing to just go.
Keep looking, keep searching.
And I found these guys, and I realized that the closer any good mezcal got to Oaxaca City by kilometer, the more adulterated it became, and that I had found the source. And I loved these people, and more than that, I loved the taste, and more than that, I loved the way it affected my body. I mean, I had gotten to the point where I couldn't drink cognac, couldn't drink rum, I couldn't even drink tequila because it hurt me the next day. But I could drink this stuff all day long, sipping it, and feel great the next day. So I had to make it available to me and my friends. And that's how I got into this thing.
Nice, brother.